It was worry that made her fat. It made her fat, even as it made other mothers thin. Etta shifted her weight, lifting first one foot and then the other. They had never bothered her before, but now they ached whenever she stood too long. Nothing to eat but cabbage and potatoes and soggy bread. No butter most weeks, and no meat, and the milk ran thin like water. And still she managed to gain weight. Yosef hadn't said anything to her, not even when her finger outgrew her wedding ring and she began to wear the cherished gold band on a cord around her neck. But she caught him yesterday, watching her during breakfast as she unfastened the top button of her skirt. She had turned away from him then, angry at herself for giving in to discomfort, and at him, too, for noticing. She turned the spigot. It was warm in the kitchen and the windows ran rivulets from the steam. She washed the potatoes and peeled them, stopping every now and again to wipe her forehead. It had been 2 years since they'd all been together at the table. 2 years since Max had left for the front. And now Georg was at the Hitler school, and there was no noise in the house and no laughter. Housework was her tonic. It was her company those afternoons when Yosef went to drink his beer. She cleaned more now than she had when both her boys were home and making messes in their rooms. She washed their sheets every week and scrubbed their floors and took their feather comforters outside to pound them in the air. If work were prayer, then she was the most devout woman in Heidenfeld. Her house was cleaner than all the others, and she raked the leaves from her garden twice each day. She brought the cabbage pot from its place in the cellar, down by the plums and the apples and the jelly jars. She'd braised the cabbage with peppercorns and apple slices and a dash of wine. The juniper berries had gone soft, and all the juices ran sweet. Just 3 more hours now, and Max would be back home. He'd sit down with them at the table, and she wouldn't press him to talk. She wouldn't ask him anything because boys needed rest when they came back. They needed time to get their bearings. Yosef had grumbled when she brought him the letter. He'd lifted it high to the light and set it back down. "It makes no sense," he said. "It doesn't sound right." But she shushed him. "Don't ask why. Be glad," she told him. "Be thankful he's coming home." She had washed Max's shirts already and ironed his pants with vinegar, and just this morning she'd scrubbed his window again so he could see the river from his chair. The house was almost ready. She hummed while she worked. She rattled the pot lids and took out the plates. "Du, Etta," Yosef called over the sound of the radio. "Stop your singing." He was prickly today, but she paid him no mind.